Your Academic Skills Center presents this video series to help you strengthen your statistics skills.
Hello stats students and welcome to Ease into Statistics. My name is Janine Allwright and I am the Instructional Specialist at Walden's Academic Skills Center, where I lead the Statistics Tutoring team. This video presentation is part of an ASC video series to strengthen your statistics skills. In this video, we will talk briefly about trepidation that you might feel about your statistics course. I will share tips with you on getting started with your statistics work, and I will share strategic advice to help you move forward to successful completion. Let's get started. If you feel slightly uneasy about your statistics course, and that is completely normal, there's actually a word for it in the literature. It's recognized as stats anxiety. Now, that is not the same as math anxiety in the sense that stats is not math. Math is more of an abstract experience, but stats tells the story of the data and is all about the interpretation of the numbers. Now, it's very well possible that you feel uneasy because of an earlier experience and because some students are just less comfortable about numbers, but it helps to take charge. A proactive approach will really get you through these first couple of weeks and allows you the time to get used to stats as a new language, right? Because it certainly is. We use words that maybe you haven't heard of. We also bring new meaning to words that you might already be familiar with, but we use them in a different setting. And it helps to take that proactive approach to get started early. And if you're watching this video in the first week of your course, then you have succeeded in that proactive approach already. Do keep in mind that there are no silly questions in statistics. I always want to commend students that ask questions, and I am a Walden graduate, and some of you that have met me might know that. I've also been in that position where sometimes it feels like a question is silly. I want you to really push through that, because in my personal experience, when I feel that I'm asking something that might sound silly, it's often a sign that I'm missing parts of the concepts. So ask and ask away. Now let's look at what you can bring at the start of your course to get you started and to get through the first couple of weeks. I recommend that you download and install the required SPSS software early, if that is a requirement in your course. Do aim for the highest version if you can. At the time that I'm recording this video, we are working with version 27. So keep your versions up to date. The download and installation process is not managed by the tutors at the Academic Skills Center, and if you have issues there, I recommend that you reach out to the customer care team that you can contact from your Walden portal. I also recommend that if there are data sets provided in your classroom, that you download those data sets early on. When you click on the data sets in the classroom, you're actually downloading them already. So there is no need for you to click on these data sets again and again and again. If you can't locate the data sets, I recommend reaching out to your instructor as soon as possible so that you have full use of the data sets when you need them for discussion posts and assignments. I think it's important that you organize your computer, not just for this stats course or the course that you're taking currently at Walden, but for any course really, all through your academic track. As I mentioned earlier, I am a Walden graduate and I too worked on these Walden courses, and I want to show you what those files could look like from where I am looking. And I have an example here on my computer that I want to share with you. Let me bring that over real quick. As you can see, I've set up a fictitious folder here called Course Examples. They have some of the most common statistics courses here at Walden. And just to show you an example, here is a 8210 research course that is a graduate course for master's and doctoral students. And you can see that I've organized all the folders here by subject. I really think it helps to organize these folders for any of the courses because in my experience, once you get to dissertation time, you will certainly grab back to that knowledge that you collected over the course of your degree program. You can see here that I have a dataset folder. That's where the 3 datasets live from this specific course. But I also keep track of administration, emails to instructors, resources that I keep on my computer, videos and transcripts are all downloadable from the classroom. By the way, keep an eye on those videos. All videos have a transcript option below the video that you can download. It is ultimately much easier to read along with a transcript when you watch the video the first time. You can use that transcript to make notes and then review that at assignment time, which is so much easier than reviewing a video over and over again. As you can see in the first week here, I have an example of a discussion post and an assignment. Now, I didn't name these at the moment that the course was happening. I surely placed them in a folder, but I went back after the course ended, organized all the resources here, and named the discussion posts and assignment because that was easier for me to retrieve. Imagine that you come to dissertation time and that you have 15 different versions of week 1 discussion posts on your desktop, right? That gets a feeling of being disorganized, and it's just, very time consuming to sort through that at that time. So I highly recommend organizing your computer for any Walden course. Let's move back to our PowerPoint. I also think it makes sense to browse your syllabus early on in your classroom. No matter what course you are, there's always a syllable that is available that shows you what is expected and what the due dates are. But I actually have an example here that I want to share with you. I created a syllabus for the purpose of our tutoring staff. Let me bring that up as well. And here you see it. This is for one specific course. It's what we call the 8210 course again. I've added a page here in the front with a summary of what is going on in every week. I can scroll this down. Now, this is a copy for ASC Stats Tutoring only, so please don't ask me to share this because I just made that for our group. But I have every week's information here. And while these links are not clickable when I'm not live in the classroom, this does allow me to work offline should need be, right? If you combine the syllabus information here with the information in the data sets, so having the data sets on your computer and having SPSS fully installed, then you can imagine that you could work on this even if your internet goes out or if you lose power in any way. We've all been subject to some of those experiences in the past couple of years, and I think it helps to be prepared. You can create this document in less than half an hour. It doesn't have to be fancy or well edited. It's just so that you have offline access to what you need, should need be. Now, those are tips that you can use for the start of your course, right, to get you started. But I also have some great tips to share from a strategic standpoint that you can engage with throughout all of your course weeks. The first one here is focus on the class resources. And I will explain that to me, that is an iterative learning process for statistics. And what I mean by that is that firstly, you have your books and your videos, your articles. Of course, your APA 7th edition book comes into play here. I'm sure that there are outside links in your classroom. That is your first area to go to. Everything you need, for the most part, truly lives in your classroom when it comes to statistics. These courses are developed with a purpose, and they have very healthy statistical boundaries. You can imagine that the theory that lies behind some of these concepts is ultimately much broader than is on offer to you here in the classroom. So I want to encourage you to stay in that classroom as much as you can. You can use an iterative learning process though. You can start with a book. And the first time you read it, you're not going to understand everything that's mentioned there, and that's completely normal. You can then move over to a video. Make sure you click on that transcript download function, reload the videos. And maybe there is an outside link that can explain things a little deeper. Once you've done that, you can maybe go back to the book again. And that's what I mean by an iterative learning process. Some of the classrooms also have access to the skill builders that are provided by the CRQ. They are wonderful sources of information in a language that is rather easy to understand. It is not that higher stats language, but it's something that you can really relate to, and there are plenty of opportunities and examples to practice your skill set. At the Academic Skills Center, we also have resources. That's where you found this video as part of this video series. We also have static materials. And I want to take you quickly to the Academic Skills Center's website to show you where that information lives. Let me bring this over for you. When you come to the Academic Skills Center, this is where you land, right? This is the basic Academic Skills Center's webpage. If you click on tutoring, you will see a different screen here. And in the middle are a couple of boxes, and the skills and success resources are great resources to strengthen your statistic skills further. When I click on that, I see resources in many subjects. The statistics box, including SPSS, lives on the right side in the bottom tier. And if you click on the research courses, we actually offer resources for 2 specific courses that you can use to review. For instance, if you were in the first week of this course, you can see the Ease into Statistics video here. You can see some additional YouTube videos. These videos are produced at the Academic Skills Center, and you can trust their scholarly nature. We also have PDF files. We offer an array of subjects, so use this as additional resources should need be. If you are engaging with an advanced course, you can come here to review those earlier concepts. Let's move this out of the way. Now, I want to caution you about using outside resources. And what I mean by that is going to YouTube and just starting watching videos there. Of course, when we watch a video on YouTube, we always get recommendations for 10 more videos in that same subject, and therein lies the problem. Right? Just like I said, that the classroom is designed with healthy statistical boundaries, I don't want you to go to YouTube and just get lost in the weeds. I don't want you to engage with concepts or theories that are so much more difficult than what is needed in the classroom, but also you do not know whether they are produced with a scholarly nature in mind and if the information that is shared there is reliable. So I recommend that you stay within the classroom resources first, and if you're unsure or about any resources, or you feel that you have a need for additional resources, you're always more than welcome to reach out to the tutoring team. Studying statistics is an iterative process, right? I mentioned that. So use that back and forth method to help move you forward. Now we've talked about the class resources. Now let's look at what you can learn from your classroom. Learning at Walden is not a self-study environment. You are to engage with discussion posts. Those are peer discussion posts where you write a post and you are to respond to other people's posts. Use that to deepen your statistical knowledge. Don't just post your discussion on Wednesday night and then come back for the Friday night requirement to reply to a post, but use the discussion area to engage in a deeper level of knowledge, right? The more you read there, the more you gain from other people's posts. It's actually great fun because in a couple of weeks' time in your statistics course, you're going to see where you went right or where you went wrong, and you can evaluate the quality of other people's posts. It's not something to point out in a comment, but it is something that you can use to learn. Evaluate these other approaches and also evaluate instructors' comments. Ask yourself why that instructor is making that comment. What did that instructor see missing there or is commending the student for? What went right and what could have been improved upon? Visit that discussion area every day because it will deepen that knowledge throughout the week. These statistics courses are oftentimes progressive courses, meaning that the knowledge that you gain in week 1 at the end of the week is needed to start week 2. So you want to come to that point on Sunday night where you really have a good idea of what was expected from you in week 1 and you gained that knowledge. Now that we've talked about the class resources and learning from your classroom, let's talk about the nature of these courses. As I mentioned, these are progressive courses, which means that it helps to stay on track. You want to move here with the group. You want to stay in that group setting. You do not want to fall behind because it's very difficult to catch up with future weeks if you haven't completed the earlier weeks, right? If you are trying to write a discussion post for week 10 and you haven't completed week 9, that will be rather difficult. In the same way, do not work ahead because you need to come to that moment on Sunday nights where you really feel that you grasp the concepts of that week so that you can bring that knowledge as a starting point in the next week. Now you're going to be taught to think like a researcher, specifically in the research courses at graduate level. And what that means is that you get that fancy corner office with a nice leather chair and a beautiful view, but you're being asked to tell the story of the data. It's not going to be about the formulas that are being applied behind the scenes by SPSS. SPSS is your new best friend. It will calculate anything that you ask, but you know the phrase garbage in, garbage out. You are responsible for setting up the tests, and SPSS will give you what you ask for. And then you get to turn these numbers into a story. And that's what is meant by thinking like a researcher. Always remember that you have to share this in words with an audience that you write for. Again, it's not as much about the numbers, but it is about the interpretation. Now, these stats courses come with great benefits. I often receive that question from undergraduate students when I teach an undergraduate stats course. They're, what does this course do for me? And from many professional perspectives, we can argue that it's very helpful to be able to read and understand research articles, no matter what field you're in. But as a graduate student, at some point, you're going to have to engage with a capstone or a dissertation process. It doesn't matter what methodology you will choose for that. Even if you're not interested in engaging your research question with a quantitative methodology, but you're aiming for a qualitative research question, you will still have to read your fair share of quantitative articles because the world, to some extent, still runs on a quantitative engine. So being able to understand what research articles are about when they apply a quantitative method is very helpful there. And in the research courses, you get a lot of experience critiquing articles, and we will help you figure out what is important there. I also want you to think about your support system, not just in this statistics course, though that can be to your benefit, but throughout all of your Walden experience. As I shared earlier, as a Walden graduate, I went through the dissertation process myself, and it was my Walden support system that helped me succeed. Ultimately, it's your network, your Walden village, if you will, that will help you and drive you to succeed, not just in your stats courses, but most definitely in your degree program. And with these last strategic tips, this Ease into Statistics video presentation has now come to an end.
Thank you for watching this video presentation. If you have course-level statistics questions, reach out to our stats tutors at statsupport@mayo.waldenu.edu or view our statistics support resources at academicskills.waldenu.edu.